What's up, everybody? Alex here, and welcome to the Dota Underlords Best Builds of the Week, the weekly series where I show you guys top 5 meta builds to help you rank up in Dota Underlords. Now, this week, we have seen a lot of major changes in the meta thanks to a very significant change to several units, several core units, and several strategies. Namely, the first is being Morphling. Morphling now takes on, at 3 stars of course, takes on the alliance bonuses of the opposing team. So you can get some very interesting combinations with Morphling. Now, with that being said, the Morphling has now amplified the effectiveness of the 6 mage and 4 brute strategy. This has been a strategy that has been kind of floating around the meta a little bit, but hasn't really kind of sunk its teeth in yet, and now is the time. And I say that because you've had Doom that has been buffed with increased attack speed and armor, right? You have the Ogre Magi, which is able to do the multicasting at 3 stars. You have Razor, which with attack speed based items can be very effective by stealing damage from opposing units and applying it back to them. You have the Crystal Maiden, who realistically doesn't really apply too much to this build. Yes, the reduced cooldown is good, and yes, Frostbite is good early, but if you pull a Lich later, it is probably worth taking the CM out, putting Lich in, and applying the Void Stone to the Lich, realistically, because she doesn't have the greatest impact in this build. However, the major impact is going to be on Morphling. You're going to want your top tier item like a Butterfly or a Radiance or a Bloodthorn or something like that on your Morphling so he can do as much work as possible. I love Radiance because he moves around so much. He's going to be applying that burn effect almost constantly. I do prefer getting a Fedora in this build over a 4th Brute. The reason for this is because the other Brutes, namely being Treant Protector and Lifestealer, do not really fit well in this strategy. They just simply don't. Whereas if you can get a Fedora, you can be creative with the Fedora's placement and therefore, accomplish that 4 Brute bonus. Now, one thing I will say is that I do like putting the Fedora on the Storm Spirit because Storm Spirit is one of those units, just like Morphling, that'll likely be the last one to die in this fight because of how mobile they are. And when you're kind of fighting at that last ditch effort, the Brute bonus being applied to the opposing team might actually be the difference between you winning and losing or getting points and not getting points. So it's very important that the Fedora is on a unit that does survive late in the fight, and of course Radiance being on a Morphling with his waveform is highly mobile, so it will do a lot of work in extended fights. One quick thing worth mentioning is that Hobgen has been changed. Friendly Fire no longer benefits from the Mage bonus, so you are seeing an overall reduction in Friendly Fire's abilities, with the Mages. It's now pure damage, not magic-based damage. That is a benefit against Knights, but a net loss across all other compositions. Now, overall though, Bombkin is still the best option in this build. I would actually go as far to say that the Friendly Fire Hobgen is actually the best Underlord in the game right now, and you can comfortably apply him to many other builds, with some exceptions. I do think that Enthrall and Essex has her place as well, but I think that you are very safe going with Friendly Fire Hobgen, and I should mention that Implosion does still benefit from the Mage bonus. And for the second build of the week, we are talking about another unit which saw very significant changes, and that is Bloodseeker. Bloodseeker has now, at 3 stars, will heal when units die around him, but most significantly, at 3 stars, he will gain the benefit of whatever the assassin bonus is at the time. He's not an assassin himself, so he does not actually count towards your 6 assassin bonus, but if you have 3 or 6 assassins, he gains access to that critical chance and the wounding ability. So that is key because assassins have always had an issue with transitioning from the early game to the late game. They've never really had an early or mid game. They've been relying on dragons, but then Snapfire got nerfed. So it's been very tricky for assassins. Now we have a clearer path to the end game through Bloodseeker, and Bloodseeker's healing effect at 3 stars will help him to be a little more sustained in the late game. Now, one thing worth mentioning is I do like running the cloak on him because with the assassin bonus, that extra health, because he does rack up a ton of kills, that extra health is going to help him sustain and stay alive and finish fights. There is an argument to be made over giving him a BKB. If you're in a lot of situations where there's a lot of stun heavy compositions or CC heavy compositions, the Black King bar can help him to kind of run around, unimpeded and do his work. He's going to be one of your primary carries. He's a very good unit at 3 stars. I still tend to move towards the cloak, but you know, BKB is also a good choice as well. One thing I will add is that the mantle actually works really well on Templar Assassin. In my testing, Templar Assassin, thanks to her meld and her refraction, will reduce armor on her target and will do bonus damage. So the result of that is that she tends to take down units very effectively with the mantle. Remember, she is a ranged assassin, so she has several cells of range, which allows her to kind of focus fire a little more effectively than others with the mantle. A very good choice. In this build, I do recommend that you go Battle Fury with the Ember Spirit. You are focusing on damage dealing. You're not focusing on like a Blink Dagger for spirit compositions. Mask of Madness with the Slark, of course. I do like the 3-star Queen of Pain with her evasion. It's something like a Silver's Edge. Give her that extra health. Give her that extra attack speed. Remember, she's a demon. She's going to do a lot of work. I do like positioning Nyx Assassin up front. Nyx Assassin, who does have a new 3-star effect of basically applying Vendetta every 4 attacks. I do like having him up front so that he can stun with his Spike Carapace and kind of CC that front line. An early item like a Chainmail works really well on him. I do recommend going Enigma to activate the Void bonus. It's worth it. He does a lot of damage, and that Void bonus is absolutely critical for closing out the game. And if you can, honestly, as your 9th unit, get Sand King in there. I do like the idea of running Nyx Assassin long term. You know what? I'm out of dragons. I don't think dragons are where it should be right now. The nerfs to Snapfire are a little too significant. So I think that if, as a 9th unit, if you can grab a Sand King, he can do a lot of work with you. You do get the insect bonus, but most importantly, you're getting the CC from his stun. And I do recommend in this build, you know, you could go all-out attack Eno. His stun is very good. It adds to the crowd control ability of the overall board. But I do also recommend Friendly Fire Hobgoblin. It's pure damage. It's going to be effective against knights, who ironically we struggle against as assassins because they have too much health and armor. So you know, Hobgoblin might be an overall very good choice in this build. But overall, I love this build. It's very effective and one that you will find success with. And for the third build of the week, we're talking about Brawnies. Guys, Brawnies are borderline uncontested every single game, and it blows my mind. And I think it's partly Valve's fault, honestly, because it's so complex for the average player in casual or whatever to try and figure out how much health their Brawnies actually have. Because the total Brawny health doesn't actually mean much. Total Brawny kills matters, but each individual unit is gaining a different amount of health. So how much health does each one have? Well, people are getting lazy, they're not doing the math, and they're actually feeling, well, Brawnies got nerfed, I know they got nerfed, so I'm out. Now Brawnies are completely uncontested, and multiple Brawnies, especially in this build, have 3-star effects. The newest being Bristleback with the 1-second Quill Spray. Give him a cloak, let him just rack in kills. He's going to be borderline unkillable. He's going to be doing a tremendous amount of damage because remember, Quill Spray stacks with damage over time. You got the crit chance on Juggernaut. Maelstrom, excellent on him thanks to his incredibly fast attack speed. You know, actually probably the fastest in the game. You know, you're looking at Beastmaster, an excellent unit overall. But overall, what you're looking at here is a lot of sustain from the units like, you know, your healers. You know, you're getting healing from the Warlocks. You're getting the healing bonus from the healers themselves. But what's key here is that you have several 3-star units that you can achieve that will make a huge difference. You can cluster your Brawnies around a Dazzle, whose 3-star effect is basically like the Vesture of the Tyrant. They basically don't die as soon as they die. They stay alive for a short period of time. But, you know, it's an excellent ability. Give him a Vlad's. Let him kind of sustain that front line there. One thing I should say is you can put Disruptor here if you want him to cast earlier in the fight to disrupt the enemy casters. Otherwise, honestly, guys, this is a fantastic build. I do recommend you go... Let's Go Crazy Hobgoblin. The reason for this is because with Brawnies you have extended fights. Their large health pools make it so that it's very hard to burst them down. The result of that is Let's Go Crazy and the bonus attack speed will give you a chance to kind of really steamroll your opponent as the fight carries on. This is kind of a win later type of strategy where you might not burst them down right away, but over the extended fight you're likely to win. Overall, an absolutely excellent build, borderline uncontested every game, and one that you can seriously climb ranks with. I've been talking about Heartless Trolls for a few weeks now, and I'm going to keep talking about them because they are still good. Heartless Trolls, going 4 Trolls, 4 Heartless is still very effective. You add in the little bit of sustain from the Warlocks and the healers, and you've got yourself a good build. In this build, because of the amount of ranged units you have, I do recommend Enthrall and Essex. The reason for this is because the negative armor reduction of Enthrall, plus the focus fire ability of all your ranged units should make it pretty straightforward to take down the opposing target of Enthrall, which is a huge benefit, and of course you're adding damage on the opposite side of the board. Overall, this is a very straightforward build. I've talked about it before. You're looking for a Vlad's on someone like Drow Ranger. You're not going Desolator on Drow Ranger here because you're not running Vigilant. That is something I've noticed in games where people are getting Desolators for Drow Ranger but not running Vigilant, and that is not what you want to do. I do recommend, if you want to increase the amount of damage potential you have, right, because Abaddon's a great tanky unit. You're getting the Knight impact there from the Abaddon and the Bat Rider there, but what you can do, you can actually take out Abaddon, put in a Lifestealer with a Mask of Madness. You can even take out Lifestealer, keep the Abaddon in, and when if you have a second Mask of Madness, take whoever your weakest troll is. Ironically, in this build, it's likely to be your Shadow Shaman, and you can have a Troll Warlord in here to do a tremendous amount of damage. You can even put him there on the edge. The reason for this, I would probably do this. Because you want to have the little archer there, but the corner here on the edge is often very safe. Most teams will often line up on one of the corners. If you're finding the opposing team is lined up here, by the time you get Troll Warlord, you're probably in the top 4 anyway. You can move him, reposition, do something like this so the archer's there. It doesn't matter, but Troll Warlord is absolutely fantastic in this build because, for obvious reasons, you are getting the troll bonus. Mask of Madness is great for him and Lifestealer. You can even rotate Lifestealer out for the Troll Warlord if you wish. I do recommend staying at 4 Heartless though, but overall, an excellent build and one that will continue to find success in this current meta. And for the final build of the week, we're talking demons, especially for duos. I've been talking about playing some duos a little bit more, and I had to theory craft and do some work, and I've determined that this build is the best build for duos because of your ability to activate the 3-star Warlock so quickly. So if you're out there and you're like, Alex, I need strats for duos, this is the one. You're going to feed your Warlocks to one person there. They're going to take those Warlocks, and they're going to 3-star your Warlock right away and just run pure demons and absolutely crush people. It's absolutely broken in duos right now, but even in standard and in casual or even in knockout, it's still a great build because of the impact that your Warlock can have. I do recommend getting Restore Circlets on whoever you can. Amplify the demon bonus. Make your Warlock a demon. Why not? The Ogre Magi with the Restore Circlet is absolutely out of control. He's an absolute psychopath. I do recommend it. You know, K on your Queen is good. Give her a Butterfly as well if you wish. Queen is highly elusive at 3 stars. Doom just got buffed. Increased armor, increased DPS with his attack speed. Give him an early item like a Vanguard or Chainmail and let him just absorb a crazy amount of damage. Chaos Knight's one of your primary DPSs in this build. 3-star effect doesn't apply in this build because he's a knight. Terrorblade, of course, excellent, and they've also changed Terrorblade so that at 3 stars he will repeatedly cast his 3-star effect to gain pure damage against opposing demons, and the result of that is that he is going to be getting additional damage more frequently, because before he Metamorphosis, he would do his damage, but then he never cast it again, so he never got the bonus damage again. You could actually be kind of greedy, run an Ogre Cap on the Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend has pretty good attack rate, is a demon, so he'll do a surprising amount of damage, but overall here, I do recommend you do go Enthrall and Essex because of the straight up DPS this lineup is capable of. But overall, one of the best builds in the current meta, especially if you're running duos. Guys, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. You know that I'll be happy to answer them. And thank you guys so much for watching. And a very special thank you to all of my wonderful subscribers. Take care, everyone, and have yourselves an absolutely wonderful day.